Hello everyone. Good afternoon. So this is Pranali from Social Samosa. Okay. Yeah. So we are all here to learn how leading brands and agencies are approaching marketing this festive season at the Festive Masterclass with Quora. Without taking much of your time for the for our masterclass, let me invite our first speaker for the Festive Marketing Masterclass. It's Neha Chambolkar. So Neha Chambulkar, the head of business marketing at Quora APAC, she has a wealth of knowledge spanning over a decade in the fields of marketing, strategic partnerships, brand strategy, and alliances across the customer tech, consumer tech, media, and software industry. She is a seasoned marketing professional with a demonstrated history of building brands, accelerating growth, and crafting business turnarounds. Hello, Neha. And thank you for joining. Also, our second speaker is Inakshi Chatterjee, Head of Agency Partnerships at Quora APAC. Inakshi is responsible for building connections with agency partners and advertisers across the region. She has an extensive experience in digital and social media marketing, product management across media, entertainment, and telecom brands to drive customer acquisition and brand visibility. Thank you for joining, Inakshi. So now I'll leave it to you too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nali. Thank you for the kind
Yeah.
introduction. I'll
Yeah.
quickly share my screen. Awesome. So, first of all, thank you for joining in today. What we'd like to do today is quickly walk you through some festive marketing insights on Quora. And I really hope all of you have had a good start to the day. And today, Inakshi and I will be sharing some interesting insights and trends among Quora users this festive season. We'll also be sharing details about Quora's agency partner program and how it can benefit you. And with that, let's dive right into it. So Quora was founded in 2009 by Adam D'Angelo, and his mission is to share and grow the world's knowledge. From questions like, what CRM should I choose for my startup, to why does my cat purr? Quora is really a place where users are actively seeking solutions and connecting with experts who can answer them. In 2018, Quora launched Quora Ads, and since then, we've been adding new formats, targeting options, and even integrations to continue to serve brands on our platform. There are 300 million plus monthly unique visitors on Quora globally, and India is our second largest market with 100 million plus monthly unique visitors. We have interesting audience insights on our users in the next few slides. So the users on Quora are diverse in nature. We have celebrities and entertainers here, as well as CEOs and business owners. There's no financial transfer to come and learn something on Quora. And that is what's so beautiful about it. So if you see, a lot of our users discover the platform by asking a question in a search engine, and then they end up on Quora beginning their learning journey. Quora also hosts business profiles on the platform, which are official brand pages on Quora through which businesses can join the online conversation about the brand or the category. Many household names across categories from education to FMCG to health to auto are already on Quora. Every conversation on Quora is driven by the community. So the users who come here for answers are using upvotes and engagement to really highlight what answers are most valuable to them. And that's how our system really works. So when you look up a question seeking an answer, you will see some very relevant answers at the top of the feed. And that's what keeps our users coming back time and again. And so it's fresh and exciting every time you come into Quora looking for those answers. And the best stuff is up at the top there. It's always evergreen and it's easy to find. What makes Quora so different from other platforms is it's not passive, a platform of quick thumb scrolling. It's also not a place where people have necessarily made up their minds. The user mindset on Quora is more about, I'm actively learning, I'm researching, I'm investigating, I need more information. I'm not ready to make a decision yet. but I'm getting close. And I need real feedback from people that have been there, done that, and have a personal experience to back it up. It's not your friends and family that you're following per se. Rather, Quora is designed to surface what are the best questions and answers based on your own interests and questions you're consuming across the platform. And as we all know, the buyer journey, it's not a funnel. We wish it still were that straightforward, but rather it's a bunch of non-linear touch points, all of which are building momentum towards that final decision. Our global survey partner, Global Web Index, has reported that 67% of Quora users in India conduct research regularly before making purchases. So being able to reach audiences in this deep research mode can be a prime time moment to influence their next move. People come to Quora for a lot of different reasons. It could be to evaluate and compare different products or different brands. It can be to do research, read reviews, get all the information you need before making a major purchase. It can be to gain knowledge or people who want to learn something new. It could be to find support, get their feedback from peer groups or product experts that are answering those questions on the platform. It can be to seek advice and tips from peers, seniors, and experts to follow your dreams. Or simply, it can be to be productive. If you need just a quick answer or you need advice to a pressing question before making that final purchase. Today, 51% of Quora users read consumer reviews while researching a product. And 60% of Quora users regularly shop and browse for products online. With all our advanced targeting capabilities, brands can key in on these critical moments in the buying journey to influence users' decision-making process. With the unique nature of our audience on the platform that we host, so we host a unique audience which you may not find anywhere else. As per the research by our survey partner, Global Web Index, about 42% of Quora users are not on LinkedIn and 36% of Quora users are not on Twitter. Another important aspect is the assignment of topics to the questions being asked. In addition to what you see here, Quora covers an expansive list of over 300,000 plus topics and growing. This is a super important detail because each question on Quora is assigned to a topic that are in effect contextual labels. So it can be ranged from broader topics like tech, consumer electronics, to more specific topics like online deals, savings, and shopping hacks. These topics and keywords and specific questions are all opportunities for brands to target a high intent and contextually relevant audience. So as we head into the festive season, we wanted to highlight a few of these verticals that brands can tap into across relevant topics and interests. Starting with e-commerce and retail, this time last year, there was quite a spike in views on this topic, as well as across followers, upvotes, and engagement. Millions of people are actively engaging with questions related to e-commerce and retail. Quora users are 69% more likely to purchase makeup and cosmetics online and 63% more likely to purchase skincare products online compared to the average internet user. As you can see, online purchase intent is high among Quora users. The next vertical we wanted to highlight is consumer electronics. Quora users are a tech-savvy bunch. They are 78% more likely to be early adopters of tech and are more likely to buy the latest gadgets as soon as they are available. They also like to keep in touch with trends and do their research before making big purchases. 58% follow the latest technology trends and news, and they are 52% more likely to research before making a major purchase online. Another popular category during the festive season and one of the most awaited purchases during the festive season are the cars and the two-wheelers category. Views on electronic vehicles topics spiked during the last festive season with a 43% increase in October. Millions of people are engaging on topics related to cars and automobiles. The car enthusiasts on Quora are high in their intent to purchase, with over 35% users owning two or more vehicles. Quora users are also 29% more likely to own an electric car compared to the average internet user in India. These are just three of the 300,000 topics that are available to tap into. But hopefully, it gives you an idea of the scalability, the variety, and the contextual alignments we can put in play for your clients across different verticals. It is these unique insights and trends that our client success team helps you leverage, whether it's building brand, driving sales, building brand trust or consideration. With the combination of our targeting capabilities and the native ad formats available and the advanced conversion tracking that we put into play, we can put together a tailored strategy and deliver against a wide variety of targeted KPIs that you may have for your campaigns. So to quickly see a few examples of brands running on Quora or advertising on Quora, you can see that there are a wide variety of product types, services, verticals, and objectives that we help cater to. Whether it's information on financial products, university degrees, health, entertainment, or home interior, brands tend to leverage questions that people ask across industry verticals for their campaigns. We take a closer look at how few of these brands have leveraged these insights later. But first, let's dive into some key insights around Quora's high-value audience this festive season. So the difference between Quora users compared to other platform users is that instead of just passively scrolling, Quora users are being productive. They're doing their research on the platform, taking a decision, making the final purchase based on that research. 67% of Quora users research online before making a purchase. They come to the platform to ask all kinds of questions, from EV costs to internet service provider reviews to planning their travel itineraries. Another unique trait about Quora users is how they tend to respond to and interact with brands that they see advertised online. 92% of Quora users say they discover brands via paid media. Also, 37% of Quora users tend to buy brands they have seen advertised, and 25% of Quora users click on promoted answers or sponsored posts. This responsiveness of Quora users to ads is invariably higher than the other platform users. This leads to their tendency to purchase products and brands that they see advertised. With that, let me hand it over to Inakshi, who will further deep dive into some interesting festive marketing insights for this season. Inakshi, over to you.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And let's dive right into festive marketing and research on Quora. You would have already noticed that we do a lot of research on the users on the platform. And the research shows that the conversations around festive shopping tends to start early September and see major spikes during Diwali, Dussehra, and Christmas. What are these people searching for? They're looking for the best sites, scouting for deals to buy in during the festive holiday season. And this becomes the right time with the festive season in full swing to reach these early birds who are gearing up for the purchase. As you can see, 56% of Quora users conduct research on social networks. They're looking to buy smartphones, wish-listed products they have been saving up for. And what are they looking for? They're looking for reviews of wish-listed products. And these products range from smartphones, like should I go for an iPhone 14 or a Samsung Z Flip? They're looking for washing machines, front load or top load. They're looking for the latest brands of laptops and many more. And they're actively seeking for recommendations, seeking reviews and customer testimonials to make up their mind before they splurge onto the big purchase. And once they read up on the reviews, they are gearing up to make the big purchase. Neha has taken us through the automotive sector vertical insights, and cars and two-wheelers make up for a lot of questions and are one of the big purchases that users on the platform do. So they are looking at questions around and conversations around the views on car types, car models, buying options tend to peak during the season. The customers are attentively researching what are the car brands, should it be electric or not, what are the loan options, the buying models before they spend their hard-earned money during the festive season deals. What we've just shared is just a tip of the iceberg. We have a wealth of audience data that we would love to make available to our agency partners and brands to leverage and reach the right audiences at the right time. And here, I would want to share a couple of success stories. First up is Headphone Zone. They've leveraged the platform successfully. So they were looking to build thought leadership and become an influencer in this category. So when they came to us, they looked at positioning Headphone Zone as an industry leader. They used promoted answers to discuss questions and reach audiophiles who are looking for what is the right gaming headset for me? What kind of options do I have for noise cancellations to do my remote work effectively? What was the result? They got 2.6 million plus content views on the promoted answers, which were answered from the Quora business profile, lending credibility, along with a CTR, which was over 3%. But what was the highlight of the campaign? Was 90 plus purchases in under 2 months. This is just one example of a successful story on Quora. Next up, Oppo. The brand needs no introduction, and they were scouting for new channels to build awareness and consideration for the latest smartphone, which was Oppo Reno 4. And to do this, they used a combination of image ads, which was directing traffic to the product page, and promoted answer, which was educating the customer about the phone's features. With this, they were able to garner 2.8% plus CTR on their promoted answers, and their image ads actually outperformed industry benchmark. Another success story, and very apt for the festive season, was APAC-India. APAC is a producer of home appliances, and they looked at increasing their share of voice in the category of home appliances by segmenting audiences who are looking at product categories and their offerings around kitchens, kitchen fittings, digital locks. With a combination of audience, topic, and keyword targeting, their promoted answers were able to garner 30% higher CTR with 15% lower CPCs. What we want to say is we have a lot of resources at Quora that we want brands and agency partners to leverage, be it audience insights, consultations, or tailored projects for your clients. And with this, I want to share a couple of examples of brands who are on Quora and who have in the past and also currently leveraged the platform effectively. And these brands form a part of a wide array of brands across categories like auto, e-commerce, home appliances, gaming, CPG, and many more who are using the festive season spike in conversations and views to reach out to audiences with their seasonal sales, discounts, product launches, and many more. And with this, I'm happy to share with you the agency partnership program that we've recently launched. Well, agency partnership program, of course, one of the benefits is dedicated support. That is not to say that Quora is not a self-serve platform. It is, but you're not alone in a self-serve island or doing a DIY everything. We are there to work with you to build tailored media plans and proposals, work with you to achieve your clients' KPIs and reach audiences in the vertical that they want to, so that it's set up for success. And with this, I will share a couple of benefits of this partnership program that has been recently launched. Of course, a dedicated expert, which is from Quora's success team, and they will help work with you to plan, identify, and execute campaigns for your clients, which can be done through one-on-one consultations, working with you in terms of customized campaign building, identifying the clients, what kind of verticals work for you, and therefore go about the Quora plan. We're also open to joint initiatives on industry events and webinars that you see fit to do with Quora. With ad review support, you can accelerate your client success with direct ad review and ad text consultations. Education and training, which is complementary, and it is something that we offer on demand to the team for dashboards and workshops. Some of the category insights Neha has already shared, and we have many more that we're happy to share with our agency partners. With exclusive access, you can be the first to access beta features and other marketing materials. Coming to Quora video ads. So we have a lot of exciting stuff down the roadmap. And one of the exciting stuff is, of course, the recently launched Quora video ads. Apart from the image text and promoted answer ads along with lead gen ads, this is something that's very new and recently launched, which brands and advertisers as well as agency partners can leverage as a part of beta program. This is unskippable ad, and currently it is running on auto mute and outstream. And this is something that is with the exciting stuff that's coming up. This is one of the beta ads program that we want to launch and roll out to all our partners. Speaking of myself and the global agency team, we are here to help connect with you and help you to build your client success with customized plans and any support that you need in terms of vertical analysis, audience insights, and many more. And with this, let's end on festivities where we can see the trending questions on Quora around Diwali and shopping and much more. I would now like to hand it over to Pranali to take us through the next section of the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neha and Anakshi. The masterclass was very insightful. So moving ahead to our next panel discussion on festive marketing, I would like to welcome our first panelist, Aparna Tadikonda. So Aparna holds a key leadership role at IPG Media Brands and drives the integrated and digital business for Interactive Avenue South with a passion for building high-performance teams. Our next panelist is Aditya Jalgaonkar. Aditya leads the digital marketing initiative for Hafil in India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. He has more than a decade of experience in digital marketing and handling categories such as education, precious metal, and home improvement. We also have our very own Hitesh Rajwani, CEO of Social Samosa Network, who will be moderating this session.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, thank you for joining, Aparna. Thank you, Aditya.
It's a pleasure to be on this panel.
We waited for this. Hello, Hitesh.
Hi,
So,
thanks a lot for the introduction. Hello and welcome to the panel, Aparna and Aditya. I hope you guys are doing well.
Thanks, Hitesh.
Thank you.
over to you, Hitesh, Aparna, and Aditya.
Thank you, Pranali. So thank you, Aparna and Aditya, for sparing our time to share your perspective on festive marketing today. I think Neha and Akshi have shared a great context on festive marketing, some great insights coming in directly from Quora. And I think there is a lot of food for thought for the brands and agencies who tuned in terms of the case studies that they share. So I thought I'll re-emphasize the importance of festive season for Indian advertisers and marketers. I think it is that time of the year when consumers switch from that saving mode to full-time spending mode. It is that time that they eagerly await to use the disposable income that they have towards products across categories. I think that is the reason why the season becomes even more important for advertisers and marketers, because this is the time when they have to be there in the eyes of the consumer. So just that's what at Social Samosa we've been trying to curate content around this, that how consumers have a shopping wish list. I believe marketers also have a shopping list in terms of the kind of investments that they should be doing when it comes to content, media, influencers, and so on. So without further ado, I will start the session, and I'd like to pick your brains on something that has been a question and a conversation in marketing and advertising boardrooms, that a lot has changed in the last 2 years. The consumer in the pre-pandemic world was quite different from the consumer in the post-pandemic world. There has been a change in their taste preferences. So what are some of your observations on consumers in the post-pandemic world, and how can brands leverage platforms such as Quora to reach these consumers directly? I think Aparna, you could start, and Aditya, you can weigh in then.
Sure. Thanks, Hitesh. So I think a lot of, firstly, I think thanks to Neha and Inakshi, a lot of insights about the platform and the consumer behavior, when it comes to platform like Quora has been shared. It's quite insightful. And it only resonates what I'm only also going to say is that traditionally about 48% consumers spend more time during festive period, right? And that's only been increasing over a period of time. But I think after compromising last 2 years during pandemic, this year, I think it is said that 20% more consumers will spend more and more money in 2022 than in 21. So that's like a whopping number. And I think therefore, the opportunities for brands to, leverage, digital marketing is only going to increase. And of the 40% expected, I think the tier 1, tier 2 growth is going to explode further. Now, we have seen this last year as well, that the non-metro growth phenomena has exploded, and it will again continue in 2022 too, right? That's one aspect of it. That's the consumer, sentiment on spending. Now, secondly, if you look at the consumers' media and content consumption habits itself has changed over last 2 years, and it is only going to further. I mean, you see a lot of evolution in terms of the kind of media consumption habits itself. They're spending a lot of time watching content on YouTube, OTT. They're spending more and more time on social media and a lot of newer platforms, both English as well as regional. The time spent on online research is only increasing. They're not only researching they're not only researching offline and also buying online, but they're researching offline and also doing online, right? So the time spent on online research is really increasing. They're comparing prices, they're looking at reviews, they're looking at peer recommendations, and are making informed purchase decisions, which is further nuanced with different audience segments, different age groups, different geography. So it's complex, but it also is very, very sharp and nuanced, right? You also see that engagement with mobile apps has shot up significantly, which means I think on an average, they say one consumer has averaged close to about 9 apps on their smartphone. So it's like a very interesting behavior to slice and dice a lot of data, and therefore data becomes that much more significant for brands this year. Also, I think it's a very critical time for Indian advertising, therefore, because advertisers are very, very bullish that the spends that they do on digital marketing this year, basis the consumer behavior that I've quoted, is only going to bring a lot more returns than usual. Right. So as more and more people, are watching, online video, and the change in the consumer, behavior that I spoke about. So it's of utmost importance for brands to tap into the right medium and platforms that are addressing these differentiated consumer needs. Now, awareness, top of the mind, has always been a go-to approach for festive marketing, but I don't think so that can just be the strategy anymore, right? We need to look at deeper engagement with consumers across levels and activate differentiated strategy based on their needs. And that's where intent-based platforms like Quora, I believe, become hugely relevant, right? To tap onto the search behavior that Neha spoke before, and to kind of look at very, very specific engagement strategies, right? Which will definitely help consumers take informed choices. So I think, yeah, it's very interesting time this time in terms of how festive marketing is going to pan out.
So if you had to define, like, say, probably like 2-3 tips on how brands should be looking at like platforms such as Quora, like intent-based platforms, and like that differentiated strategy that you spoke of. So like, is there something very specific that they should be chasing at this point in time, given the festive season is ongoing and it will peak in the next 2-3 weeks or so?
Yeah, see, power of intent marketing, like that everybody speaks about, is quite an interesting word by itself, right? And I think when you speak about intent marketing, what comes to your mind is how can you leverage search, Google, kind of platforms. But I think intent marketing itself is quite nuanced, right? There are all kinds of users. For example, you have consumers who have deep intent on a specific topic or theme. You have consumers who have shallow intent, right? So the strategies in terms of converting them will need to be extremely different, right? So you have to pitch your content strategy accordingly. Full funnel, I'm sure you would have heard about this word from everywhere. Everybody's speaking about full funnel strategy, which means it's not just going to be enough to create awareness in the top funnel. You really need to understand your consumer, and like I think one of Neha or somebody else has also said that festive does not mean that you just start your advertising prior a week or so before your festive starts, right? Pre-festive is really an important time, and I think the brands are all looking at ROI based models, which means how is my awareness converting to consideration as well as conversion, right? What ROI is any platform giving back to my awareness campaigns? And gone are those days when awareness is just measured basis some kind of a brand intent, right? Because of the explosion of data, right, that is accessible today. I think all brands are looking at ROI for this festive, and therefore messaging strategies are very, very different, right? You need to understand the profile of your audience by age, by any data cut that you have, and have extremely different messaging strategies for each, right? And which are agnostic of any ad format as well. So that is the kind of level of preparation, right, that brands are now moving into. And it's not as simple as a plain vanilla marketing in terms of make a video ad and just kind of show it to a reach based kind of an audience which just gives scale. That's not going to work anymore. You need to extremely have further engagement strategies, which means the messaging strategies that I spoke about. The offerings need to be sliced and diced. You need to start your pre-festive with your education, and then lead into a specific, mid-funnel and lower conversion strategy. So that's, I think, what brands should all gear up to.
Got it. And Aditya, like from your observation as someone who's a custodian for a brand like Hafla in India, like what are some of the tips and trends you've seen in the last 2 years, and how have you used platforms such as Quora to reach your consumers directly? I think there was one of the cases that Inakshi shared from your brand itself. So if you could even dive into that, that would be great.
So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Quora and Social Samosa team, for having me here as a panelist. Thank you, Aparna. Fantastic start of the discussion. And Hitesh, before I start, I would like to break this question into two parts. I hope that is okay, because one is trend and how, second is how a brand like us would like to use Quora as a platform. If I have to talk about, last 2 years, that is 2020 and 2021, not really good years because of COVID, and we all know a bit about that. People were not spending a lot of money, holding on to liquid because the time was really uncertain. So that was the case during last couple of years. But if you look at 2022, and if you are assessing situation right now, because festive season is already started in India, a lot of things have changed right now. There's a positivity, consumer sentiments are improving. I was reading an article on LinkedIn. One of the marketing experts were talking about how malls are flooded right now with people. How business travelers started using airlines. Airlines are also running with the high capacity. So these are the trends currently we can look at, and this is a really positive sentiment. I think Aparna already mentioned about how the things are improving right now, and this is one of the report which is again shared by Axis Bank a couple of weeks back, which also mentioned by Aparna that 48% people are tend to spend more during this festive season, and they're also saying more than 20% increase in spend as compared to last year festive thing. So if you look at that, then the trend is already started happening, for categories which are non-essential product categories such as ACs, cars. So this is again a really good insight for us, perfect sign for us. One more thing which you have to look at from a different perspective. We always talk about online, but if you look at offline also, because after 2 years there will be no COVID restrictions. So you will find a lot of malls or offline store will flooded with the people. That is part number one. Part number two is this year they're expecting people with the having a bigger disposable income mainly because of Diwali bonus payouts. We also fall into consumer durable categories, and when I assess the situation, most of the consumer durable categories would love to aim at 30 to 35% revenue during this festive season, which will again contribute to their overall annual revenue. So these are the trends I am looking at currently. Now, talking about how Quora as a platform one can leverage. I personally look at Quora as an educational platform wherein you will find all kind of audience with the different intent. I think Aparna has already mentioned about intent marketing. I think this is a fantastic and suitable platform. Neha also mentioned about some of the statistics. We are talking about 300 million unique visitors per month, and 100 million users are only from India. There is one more statistics which I jotted down, and 88.7 million answers were published on Quora. So this is the kind of universe a marketer has right now. And if you do a proper research as a brand and try to understand how people are reacting to certain question and answer, what they are searching for, how influencers on Quora or how brands on Quora are reacting to certain questions, what are the kind of questions and answers are getting higher number of views. This is what we also did as a brand, and we created a multi-level strategy. Again, talking about intent per se, when we talk about intent or a full funnel strategy, we always talk about awareness as an intent, consideration as an intent, or conversion as an intent. And if you create a content strategy for all these three intent, then you have a better chances of winning or retaining customers on Quora. So for us, we did that successfully, and that's the reason we are a part of a success story. So yes, I mean, these are the trends, and we can see right now over here. One more closing thought which we learned as a brand is when we talk about other social media platforms which are currently struggling to give the organic reach, that is not the case right now with Quora. If you work consistently and if you make tactical changes over the period of time, then you have a better chances of winning that customer and retaining that customer, and then maybe driving that particular user or customer to your website. You are on mute, Hitesh.
Yeah. So right, I'm saying, speaking of trends, Aparna, you as IPG Media Brands and Interactive Avenues, you have your ears and eyes on ground, and like I think some words that people associate with the festive is big and great, and I think there's a lot of spends that usually happen in this time frame. I think majority of brands, most spends happen in this time frame. So what are some of the ad spend trends that you've seen this year or you foresee this year, and according to you, which are some of the categories which would be the biggest or the largest spenders in this time frame?
Well, so no surprises there. I think your e-commerce continues to be the largest. I think they take away the share of spends when you talk to festive, and especially when you see brands like Amazon, and Flipkart, right? So compete. I think they're trying to outshout each other, right, in terms of trying to get into your consumer's mind, because festive is not about loyalty, but it's about where am I getting the best price, where am I getting good deals. So it's all about shouting out as loud as you can, and that's only through kind of spending a lot of money. But what is interesting is that, I mean, we handle Amazon also, right? So while that approach may continue to be there, but largely brands are trying to relook at what is the ROI that this approach is trying to give me back, right? And hence you see, or this, while TV will continue to be spent at a threshold levels, because you need to be out there during that festive time, so that consumers are registering everything that you are going to say. But I think brands are also talking about how do I get ROI for the spends that I'm giving, and therefore digital will get disproportionate spends. And when I talk about from that angle, what are the categories? Your e-commerce, your which is your beauty, apparel, electronic devices, mobile phones continues to be a large part of your festive spends, and it's a very deal driven kind of a approach. And therefore what are the various strategies to actually convert, therefore mid funnel, down funnel kind of strategies for electronic as a category. Your FMCG, right? Your FMCG, your consumer durable. But interestingly, not just auto, right? Neha has mentioned about automotive being largely researched on, but your after sales, your two-wheeler, four-wheeler, after sales services, right? They are actually looking at spending a lot of money on digital, especially not to create awareness, but completely intent based. So the searches with respect to those markets and maintaining your vehicles, that's another interesting category that I've seen, which is really forthcoming, right, in terms of how do I leverage digital. And I think platforms like Quora can really kind of play a relevant role in those kind of categories. So broadly, I think these but then yes, compared to last few years, I think brands are watching out, right, in terms of carefully where I spend, what do I spend, right? I don't mind spending, but what what is getting back to me in terms of my return on investments, I think it's something that everybody is very cautious about now. You're in mute,
Put on
Hitesh.
mute. Yeah.
So I'm saying, Aditya, your understanding on the kind of ad spend trends that you see this year, like for your specific category, is there a new entrant to the mix, or like how are you planning your spends this season?
So again, if you compare last 2 years, the spends were really shrunk, and if you look at Indian advertising market as of now, it has opened from last 6 months. There was a report which talked about, there is a 16% growth in overall spends in Indian market, and Indian advertising market supposed to be the fastest growing market. Talking about digital spends, or for TV for that matter, it is increasing. Talking about us, we always focus on what works really well for us, and that's why Quora is again a very important or integral part of our online marketing strategy. We always focus on creating sustainable marketing campaigns, because that is really important. Most of the times what happens is brands create certain campaigns and then they disappear. So we have seen a lot of success, especially when we created a sustainable campaign for us at Hafley, and that is again one of the reasons we created a campaign on Quora, and it became a success story. Talking about in general categories, again, these are my personal opinions that, if you look at from last 6-7 months, there are new entrants into the market. If you talk about online education, if you talk about online gaming, which has with their spending money like crazy, again, one of the reasons they are getting good funding, and that is again getting translated into their ad spends. Talking about, I think Aparna already mentioned about FMCG, because they fall into essential category, so they are maintaining their threshold right now. The important part, and which I personally look at differently, that is, one is auto and second is travel. They are coming back on track, and that is one of the reasons that you can see the ADEX is going back to the pre-COVID era. We, from a home improvement category, we also see how our competition is working currently, and they are also really active, because during pre-festive season, as a consumer, they would like to go for home improvement or shifting their new house. So that is also a very important part to take care of. And one more thing, why TV is again increasing, this is if you look at when we talk about how people used to mainly spend on OTT, and now people are now coming back to TV. One is fresh content. Second is the live sports. Live sport is again one of the important topic. I usually talk very passionately about sports, and this is the trend you will see next 6-7 months. A lot of the brands or marketing teams have started taking live sports as a very seriously, which was not the case in 2019 or 2018. So I think these are the two trends you can see mainly in the coming months.
I think last year was pretty interesting in terms of how IPL coincided with the
Yes.
festive marketing, and
Yes.
that has given huge learnings to brands in terms of how to leverage live sports for festive marketing. And I think a lot of learnings are in place. And yes, you're right, Aditya, it's very interesting how live sports as a marketing channel itself, is finding a place at the table.
That is one of the reasons. If you look at the ad spends on TV has increased by 16 to 17%, which was not the case, because people were more interested toward OTT. That is what changed right now. And even if you talk about print is coming back. But when I was talking about a lot of publishers, they said that a lot of marketeers are allocating their spends on something else and not on print. So I don't know how the print is going to be in next couple of years. But these are the trends you can look at. One more observation. This is my personal observation. One is video OTT, and second is the music OTT. A lot of big brands have started focusing on that all as well. So sports marketing and the visual or audio OTT is going to be trending in maybe next 6-7 months.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
I think Aparna did mention one thing in the intro thoughts that she shared, that brands need to look at marketing from a full funnel perspective, and how there has to be a differentiated strategy through the funnel. So Aditya, how have you leveraged, say, a platform like Quora to drive through the funnel or full funnel for your brand's objectives, and like how are you planning to use it even in the coming times, this festive season as well?
Yeah, I already mentioned about for Quora is an educational platform for me, and whenever a user visits Quora as a platform, he would love to learn more about a brand or a product or a service. That is part number one. When we talk about a full funnel strategy, one or marketer needs to consider 3 stages. One is definitely the awareness, the consideration, the conversion. If you create a specific multi-layer content strategy for awareness, for consideration and conversion, then you have a better chances of winning. We started using Quora since 2016, 2017, but when we focused on intent-based targeting in 2019, I think that was the stage when a lot of things had changed for us as well. We spend a lot of time again on Quora to understand how people are consuming content, what are the questions are interested, and what are the answer people are actually upvoting. Understanding that, processing that data, we created a multi-layer strategy and created FAQs, which are, again, as I mentioned, people would love to get educated about product or services. That worked really well for us, and in last 2 years, we are the brand which got more than 30 million views on Quora. There are very basic kind of FAQs, trust me on this, are getting millions of 10 million views or 8 million views. So this is the kind of platform Quora is right now. So a closing remark from me is, do a proper research, create a niche, create a content for multi-level strategy, and create an educational content. As soon as you start moving to a marketing or a sales content, people would not love to read that. And this is what we are also doing, to be consistent, make a tactical changes, and provide what people are actually searching for on Quora.
Yeah, I think somebody also asked a question around influencer marketing on Quora, right? And I think that's a big advantage on platforms like Quora, because these days, if you look at the way influencer marketing is moving, it's a very straightforward, it looks like a product, advertising, and, even consumer knows that he's being paid to, talk about it. Unlike a platform like Quora, right, where everything is native, so organic, I think there's huge potential, right, in UGC space and influencer marketing on platforms like Quora. And that, to me, I think I'm quite, interesting in terms of how I would want to use the platform for my clients.
Again, one more point, which is Aparna mentioned, that organic reach. I think that is very important. I mentioned earlier in my conversation that on most of the brands or social media platforms, they will ensure that you shell out a lot of monies and you struggle for that organic reach. But on Quora, that's a different story altogether. If you have a proper content strategy, and if you seed that content properly, then you will end up getting a really good organic reach, and you get the value for money on Quora.
And I think influencers on Quora at this point, or even Quora has a structured creator program. They are growing very, when I say their growth curve is very organic in nature. It's it's from their intent to be a part of conversations, to share their expertise, to be a thought leader in the segment that they are in. So it's very structured, very focused, as opposed to how influencers on other platforms are. They don't have, at times some of them would have a good niche, but most of them go beyond the niche. I think with Quora, it's you get actual subject matter experts, domain authorities on that particular topic. So yeah, I mean, that's an interesting conversation. I think Aparna, you did also mention about the power of intent and how that could be leveraged to refine your full funnel marketing efforts. So how do you see, as someone who works on multiple brands across categories, how do you see brands leveraging the power of intent to maybe refine their marketing efforts or to optimize what they have been doing so far?
So, like I said, intent is at all levels, right? You have deeper intent, you have shallow intent. You are at a stage where you have not decided, but you know what you want. I mean, it is. So you need to on platforms like Quora, especially, you need to form various audience segments with respect to the kind of questions or around intent that people are asking on the platform, and accordingly have different messaging strategies across different ad formats. See, for example, video plays a role, right? Your infographic content plays an educational role, right? When you're talking about consideration and helping your consumers take that decision that this is a right product for you in your entire need that you've been asking about, then what kind of, so your ad formats need to be different. You need to, your messaging needs to be very different, right? And you need to be able to follow that guy on the platform till the time he converts, right? Therefore, like I keep saying, data led marketing is a very loose word that people use for, but that at the same time, I think the power of how you use data to kind of have a nuanced strategy for different audience segments is like really high. Therefore I feel, don't do a vanilla marketing. Don't just have one video asset for 30 seconds, or have one educational content and say this is for everybody, right? You need to be able to invest and understand what kind of content is suitable for what kind of consumer who's looking at that point in time in terms of his keywords that he's actually using. And then I think that's a great solution in terms of how your brands can leverage platforms like Quora. I mean, intent marketing is, I think, quite underutilized market, I would say, because search marketing is what you would think when you say intent, but I think there's a huge potential to untap that market.
So I would like to add quickly over here. I think Aparna just mentioned about 2 points. One is content and second is intent. If you create a contextual content for a right intent, I think then you will get that audience for on your website, or you'll able to convert him. She also mentioned about data driven marketing. We always spoke about when we talk about full funnel strategy, we always talk about how you process the data and whether you could set the right KPIs or not. I mentioned about how we are performing as far as Quora platform is concerned, but whether it is actually translating to the conversion part of it. If you ask that question, the answer is yes, because we were also assessing how we are performing as far as our websites are concerned, and we found that the traffic which is coming off from Quora as a platform are spending really good amount of time on Quora. That is part number one. Part number two is the bounce rate was really low, because that's the kind of contextual content we given them. And third, yes, we got a really good number of leads from there. So it's very important that you create the right content for a right intent, which is people are searching for, and then process the data to understand how you want to make the tactical changes in your campaign.
Right. I think we just have enough time to share some closing thoughts. So Aparna, if you could share your thoughts on how brands should be approaching festive marketing this season, probably some broad pointers, that like strategic pointers for brands to look at.
I mean, I said it before during this session also, I think brands should really focus on a very healthy media mix, right? Because it's not about TV versus digital or print anymore. It's about, for as you progress through festive, right? Because it's not, you open festive, like there's pre-festive, you open festive with a bang. As festive progresses, you would want more and more people to come and shop with you. So the journey itself is quite, it's not very linear, and you also look at different behavior and how therefore your strategies, your media mixes, your brand communication, your content strategies need to be very different
through the festive period itself. It's not like you create something and you run it for 2 months, right? It's a very, very, kind of a differentiated, pattern in terms of how consumers look at, different phases of festive marketing itself. So I think that would be, a big, thing that brands should focus about, which is like, changing, moving media mixes through the festive period. Secondly, like I spoke about, if you're looking at ROI, because brands speak about ROI, but when it comes to having the faith on a specific medium, I think they quickly get into, the tried and tested, medium, and then they come back and say, it's very difficult to get ROI from, a specific channels, etc. But I think it needs to be, brands need to put that faith in, the media mix that they go ahead with, need to put their faith in terms of digital platforms, right? That can really help them get that ROI, and how that can complement your, TV or print or any other medium. So again, comes back to, fully leveraging, the digital medium. And I am a big fan of full funnel marketing, right? Because awareness does not, I think, do anything. Like, we don't know, other than the brand metrics, we don't know what awareness does. And I think today consumers are well informed, right? They know what they want already. So the awareness phase itself is taken care by their research and, by peers and everything. But what you really, brands really need to put their money behind is the consideration and your conversion phases. And therefore, a lot of platforms, need to be activated to be able to, complement that within digital marketing, right? So that would be my top 2 to 3, headlines for festive marketing, I would say.
Right. And Aditya, for you, what would that be?
So for festive marketing, I think, again, for us, festive marketing is not post September or not post October. As a brand, we always focused on, focusing on 2 or 3 festivals, which across the years, and that is the advice I would like to give to the people who are over here, that in India, there are a lot of festivals, national level festival, regional level festival like Onam and all. You need to define which festival it is really relevant for your product line or your marketing strategy. Stick to that, create an IP, and then run it consistently. It is not a 2 months job or 3 months job. You have to create a campaign which is sustainable for 5-6 years. I will quickly give you an example of e-commerce brands. They have created these festivals within the festival, and that's why the people look up to those 3-4 days. And this is also we are doing at Hafle from last 6-7 years, that we have created an IP and we have created an ecosystem. And I'm talking about ecosystem, it is not only the internal ecosystem. I'm talking about the dealer, distributor, the end consumer. They should wait for those 6-7 days of festive marketing from a brand. Moreover, I have seen that even the publishers, they started talking our own language. They would love to associate it with this kind of properties. So for me, as an advice or a closing remark, is to select certain topics or certain festivals, stick to it, try to create an intellectual property for yourself, create an ecosystem, and then you will be able to create that community, which will then end up buying from you over the years or year on year.
Great. So I think to summarize, I do get what Aparna and Aditya you've shared, that one is that the consumer journey is not linear. So you need to create multi-layered content to drive the consumer through the funnel. I think Aditya did mention about marrying context to content to drive intent. So that is like a great takeaway for the audiences. I really love what you mentioned, Aparna, of moving on from, not moving on specifically, but moving from tried and tested formats to embracing the new, or like changing the perspective from a platform versus B to A and B together, and trying to follow the consumer through and through. The focus on mid to bottom funnel just to drive more ROI is again a great takeaway. And I think the last one, which Aditya did mention about creating sustainable IPs, which add up and which give you incremental returns over the years, and not just like a one-time thing, which is during the festive season. Thank you, Aparna and Aditya, for sparing our time for this. I really loved having this chat with you, and I believe the audience would also have great takeaways from this session. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having us. We really enjoyed the session. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.